Alright, so this is the tutorial for Cortex Power Skip. Recently there's been a new method for the exit made by 8-Bit Beast, and with some more stuff with the setup found by me. But I'm also reworking this tutorial because I now have a better capture card so I can record it in higher quality, and I also hope to record the entrance in more detail. Alright, so for the entrance for Cortex Power Skip to get into the blue gem path, we need to go up this wall. Basically, it'll involve a bunch of mashing of jump and spin. But the way this works is, there's multiple parts on this wall where you jump while holding a diagonal and Crash gets stuck on it like this. There's lots of spots that can work, but I recommend using two spots. Either here in the middle of this brown thing, or right next to it right here. Whether or not Crash gets stuck on either of those two varies, so in a run you have to test both of them. In this instance it's in the middle, but on some other occasions it'll be here. Obviously it's not because Crash isn't getting stuck. Before I try to do the mashing, I test to see if the clip is where I think it is, and if it's not, then it's just like a couple seconds lost and I have to go move to the other spot and I know it'll be there. People still don't really understand how this like disappearing clip works, but in this instance you don't die if you miss it, so it's not a big deal. So once you know where the clip is, you want to do a jump as high as possible and don't press spin until Crash is at the highest point in his jump. Now, in Crash 1 you can also use circle as a spin button, so you can either mash X and square or X and circle, and this is all preference. I personally prefer mashing X and circle, but you need to decide that for yourself. So you want to keep holding the diagonal, and then once Crash is at the highest point in his jump, you want to mash X and circle like this, and then keep holding the diagonal for a little while, and the camera should be about here. And after this you want to hold left for a little under a second and then press down. Now depending on how well you did this, you may have to press down more. There I had to press it about twice, and Crash will be here. Now as you can see, he's like in the ground. It looks kind of weird. The reason that is because when Crash moved here, this part of the level wasn't loaded, so it didn't matter. Now all you need to do to get out of this is press jump, but make sure you land on this area. Anywhere in here. If Crash warps to the into the toxic waste, you're fine, you won't die, as long as when you jump out you land on this area. Now I want to go into some detail about how people usually mess this up. You need to always remember to not start mashing until Crash is at the highest point in his jump. And also, this isn't like it's not a contest for how hard you can mash. There is a bit of rhythm to it. You want to make sure all the jump and spin inputs are getting out. You don't have to mash super hard or anything. You just need all the inputs to get recognized. Just don't go too hard in it. It only makes it more difficult. In fact, this isn't really viable, but you can actually get up this wall with mashing the buttons super quickly. Like that. You might be able to hear my controller. I was pressing them slowly. That just goes to show that you don't really need to mash that hard to get up this. It's all about rhythm. Do it fast enough so Crash doesn't fall, but also not too fast so all the jumps and spins get recognized. And yeah, keep in mind, once you get up there, keep holding the diagonal for a little bit. Hold left for a little under a second, and then press down as much as you need to before Crash moves over here. And yeah, that's the entrance. Now keep in mind that if you mess up the entrance, you'll have to deal with the concept of spin timer. For those who don't know what the spin timer is, basically if you spin too much, I'll show it here. If you spin 6 times, Crash won't be able to spin for a little bit. You'll hear this noise. You hear that? Yeah, that's what we call spin timer. It was put in place by the developers so you can just abuse spin everywhere. You can spin 6 times before this happens, and that's very easily used up by this skip if you mess it up. If you do get spin timer, don't try it for like several seconds. Wait until your whole spin timer is recharged before trying it again, or else you'll get caught in an endless loop trying it, not understanding why you're failing it, and that's usually why. And for the love of God, don't start mashing until Crash is at the highest point in his jump. It makes it so much easier, trust me. Alright, so now we're at the part where the exit is. Basically, we need to get over to the other side where that checkpoint and blue pipe is, but we don't have the blue gem, obviously, so we need to do it another way. So to set this up, you want to hold down on this blue pipe, and then hold right until you're obviously hugging the wall. And then you want to press down until there is no yellow from this black and yellow bar under Crash's left ear. And keep in mind that I mean under Crash's left, not the camera's left. You want to tap down so there's no yellow left under his ear. But once you're at a point where there's no yellow left, you don't want to go any further than that or it might not work. There is a bit of wiggle space, but you want there to be no yellow left under his ear, but you don't want to go any further than that. So right now I'm in a good position. As you can see, there's no yellow under Crash's ear. Crash's animations can get out of the way, but you can just spin if you want to see if you're in a good spot. So once you're in position, you know you're good. You don't have to pause here, but most people do it because Koji used to do it. And the reason is because it gives you time to move your thumb to the up left diagonal without risking moving Crash any other way. So once you've done that, you're holding up left here. You want to jump onto the wall over there and then do a submarine jump. For those who don't know what a submarine jump is, basically, if you spin off a ledge, you have 10 frames to jump after the spin animation finishes. So it's like a mid-air jump, and you can do it off most things in this game. So that includes this weird invisible clip on this wall. It's a clip that's very similar to the clip we used in the entrance. Now, as long as you use this method, this clip will always be here. But again, if you go past the yellow too much, or if you have any other yellow showing, it might not work. There is some wiggle space, but don't risk it, trust me. So, holding that diagonal, we're going to hold X the whole time, and then do a submarine jump. Now for this submarine jump, you have to delay it, or else you'll bonk your head on another invisible clip that's on this wall. It's pretty unfortunate that it's there, but it just requires a bit better timing than usual for submarine jumps. Keep in mind you have 10 frames to do it, so you need to do it within one of the last 5 frames or so. Alright, so that is what the exit should look like if done properly. Now you may have noticed that I did delay the jump. Like, I didn't jump immediately after the spin ended like people usually do for submarine jumps. For this instance, again, you need to delay the jump or else you'll bonk your head.